The rain was relentless that evening, drumming against the sidewalks of Chicago with a rhythm that seemed almost mournful. Jason Miller, a single dad in his early 30s, was hurrying down the wet streets, clutching his little son Noah's hand tightly as they rushed home from soccer practice. Life had been a constant battle since his wife passed away 2 years ago, balancing 2 jobs while raising a child, trying to keep hope alive in a world that often felt cold and unforgiving. He never expected that tonight something would happen that would shake him to his very core. Through the blur of raindrops and neon reflections, Jason noticed a small figure trembling under a bus stop shelter, her tiny frame soaked and shivering. She looked no older than 7, with chestnut hair plastered to her cheeks and eyes wide with fear. Instinct kicked in, and before he could think twice, he was kneeling beside her. "Hey, are you okay? Do you need help?" The girl's voice barely rose above a whisper, and she clutched a worn stuffed rabbit to her chest. I can't find my mom." Jason's heart tightened. He was no stranger to fear or loss, but the sheer desperation in her eyes pierced him in a way he hadn't felt in years. Without hesitation, he scooped her up under his umbrella, wrapping her tiny shoulders against the chill. "Don't worry, we'll find her," he promised, his own worries temporarily forgotten. In that moment, he realized that kindness sometimes comes in small, quiet acts, the willingness to step into someone else's storm, even when you're already carrying your own. If you believe in kindness and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like these remind us that even the smallest gestures can change lives. The next hour was a whirlwind. Jason and the girl, who introduced herself as Clara, walked the rain-slicked streets, asking passers-by if they had seen a woman searching frantically, tears running down her face. Every failed lead tightened the knot in his chest. He thought about his own son, the helpless feeling of being lost and alone, and he refused to let Clara experience that for even a moment longer than she already had. They ducked under awnings, navigated bustling intersections, and Jason tried everything to keep her distracted, telling stories about superheroes, imaginary dragons, and a world where nothing truly bad could last forever. And slowly, ever so slowly, she began to trust him. Finally, just as the storm began to relent, a woman came running down the street, her designer coat soaked and her expensive heels squelching against the puddles. Clara's face lit up with recognition and relief, and she bolted into her mother's arms, hugging her so tightly it seemed as though she might never let go. Jason stood back, watching the reunion unfold, tears threatening to spill from his own eyes. There was a raw beauty in that moment, pure, unfiltered, life-altering. He had done nothing heroic, yet he felt an overwhelming sense of pride, knowing he had been the bridge that restored a family's peace, if only for one night. What Jason didn't realize was that this wasn't just any mother. The woman looked at him, her eyes sharp yet softening as they met his. She was clearly a woman of immense presence and confidence, the kind of aura that seemed to ripple authority without even trying. When she spoke, her voice was calm but firm. "Thank you. You have no idea how much this means." Jason smiled humbly, shrugging off the praise. "I just wanted to make sure she got home safely." But as the woman stepped closer, he noticed the subtle signs of wealth and influence: expensive jewelry, a sleek designer umbrella, and an elegance that radiated even in the rain. There was something familiar about her face, a feeling he couldn't place. But it wasn't until Clara tugged on his sleeve and whispered, "Mom, that's her," that everything clicked. The woman was Catherine Langford, one of the most prominent billionaires in the country, known for her philanthropic efforts and high-profile business empire. Jason had seen her in magazines, on TV, and at charity galas, but he had never imagined he would meet her like this, through a simple act of compassion in the rain-soaked streets of Chicago. Catherine studied him carefully, as though measuring every part of him against the world she inhabited. And then, unexpectedly, she smiled, a genuine, warm smile that seemed to bridge the gap between their very different lives. "I don't know your name," she said softly, "but you've shown a kindness that money can never buy. Please, let me do something for you, anything you need." Jason felt a mixture of disbelief and humility. He had spent his life scraping by, doing everything possible for his son, never dreaming that fate would place him in this moment. He shook his head. I don't need anything. Just seeing Clara safe is enough for me. But Catherine was insistent, and there was a softness in her eyes that told him she meant it. Hours later, after they had parted and Jason was walking home with Noah, he received a call that would change everything. Catherine had tracked him down, not to flaunt her wealth, but to offer an opportunity he could have never imagined. She wanted to help him get back on his feet, to support his dreams, and even proposed a scholarship for Noah that would ensure he had access to the best education. Jason couldn't stop the tears from flowing. A simple act, choosing to help a lost little girl, had rippled through their lives in ways he could never have predicted. That night, as Jason tucked Noah into bed, he reflected on the extraordinary turn of events. Life was unpredictable, sometimes cruel, often beautiful. He had learned that courage isn't always about grand gestures or wealth. It's about showing up for someone who needs you, even when you feel depleted yourself. Clara had reminded him of that. Catherine had shown him that gratitude and generosity could come from the most unexpected places. And for the first time in years, Jason felt a profound sense of hope for the future. As the camera pans over Jason sitting on his porch steps, soaking in the rain now turned to gentle drizzle, it's impossible not to feel the emotional weight of the story. One act of kindness had connected 3 lives across unimaginable divides. One single dad, one lost little girl, and a billionaire mother whose world had collided with theirs in the most human way possible. If this story touched your heart, please engage with this video, like, comment, and share it with someone who believes in the power of compassion. Stories like these remind us that even in a world full of challenges, small acts of love can create life-changing miracles. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Comment below with a moment when someone's kindness changed your life. These stories inspire all of us to be better, to care more, and to never underestimate the power of simply showing up. Because sometimes the greatest fortunes are not in money or power. They're in the hearts we touch, the lives we change, and the hope we give to others when they need it most. And on that rainy Chicago evening, Jason Miller learned that more profoundly than he ever could have imagined.